All right, welcome back to episode number 2 of Hustle and Soul. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I was about to say something.
We're still figuring this out. I appreciate everybody who's left us feedback, told us nice things, bad things, all that kind of stuff. We appreciate honest, genuine feedback.
Keep it real.
Keep it real. Yeah, I mean, we can't get any better if you guys are fluffing it up and not giving us the real, raw opinion. But we're back at it for episode 2. And I think for today's topic, we wanted to talk about something that I think not a lot of people can relate to, but I think the people that are going through this, like us, definitely would like a little more insight or hear other people's stories, because I think it's an important topic. And what we're talking about now is pregnancy during COVID. You know, we got pregnant and it wasn't a COVID baby. We actually found out March 12th.
Good.
And the official lockdown in California was March 13th.
Yep.
So once we found out we were pregnant, everything shut down. So it was a very bittersweet moment because we didn't know what was happening, what the fate of humanity was.
It was very scary.
And, you know, we've been dealing with it since. A lot has changed. Small things like even going to the hospital or to the doctor's appointments together is becoming such an odd thing and odd stories that we hear.
Very sentimental.
Yeah. But that's something that we want to talk about today. And I think, you know, regardless of all that, I definitely want to give Arlene her props because she's definitely been very strong, very resilient, and powered through this entire process, you know, from small things like we work out every day. So we go at least to the park, walk 1 to 2 miles. After that, during the day, she works out at some point.
It's getting hard. It's getting harder now for sure.
And, you know, you still do the household things. You still cook because I'm at the office, so I can't make you lunch. I try sometimes, but it doesn't always work out in my favor. You still, you know, do the grocery store runs and all that kind of stuff whenever I can't be around. So I think you're definitely...
And I work.
And you work. Yeah, you work from home, and it's an intense job. Like, you know, it's stuff that you have to manage your time wisely and figure things out on the fly. So I definitely want to give you the credit you deserve.
Thank you.
But yeah, so pregnancy during COVID, I mean, I'll let you take lead on this.
It's such a crazy time. I feel like it's such a crazy time, and it's very sentimental and it's a little emotional, and I'm not a sentimental person, and I'm not someone who shows their emotion. I keep things to myself, and I think like you're my person, so I rely on you a lot. Yeah. But it has been very crazy, and I 100% did not ever picture my pregnancy ever going like this.
And the end of the world?
And the end of the world in 2020, and just 2020 in general is just so sad, and it feels like such a down time. And granted, I feel like I'm very blessed with what we do have, and even if the world's falling apart, like our situation is still very positive. Yeah. But it's just so weird. And I also think like on Instagram, everyone is pregnant. Yeah. So that is a little, I guess, fulfilling in a way, because I feel like a lot of major like Instagram influencers, celebrities.
You think everybody was like, yo, that world's going to end. Let's just like do it. YOLO.
That's kind of what you did. That's kind
Not
of
really.
what you said.
No. Okay. So
kind of. Well, we'll tell the story, but
I honestly, I don't want to say I have a problem, but I don't like that people want to put us in that bucket of like, oh, you guys had nothing to do. Like,
yeah, we're definitely not in that bucket, but I meant the Kobe thing.
Kobe?
When you remember you told me, you were like, I'll never forget, like, it hit me when Kobe passed.
Okay. So backstory.
We drove up to Santa Barbara with my parents to celebrate their birthday. Yeah. And we stopped in Agora Hills. Mm-hmm. And
we had breakfast.
The day before. And I think that was like the area where the accident
so we made this comment of like, oh, this is a really nice area. Like we exited. I forgot what the exit was. And we specifically remember like this area we made a point of something about this area.
Yeah, something about that area. Whatever, had breakfast. Yeah. Went to Santa Barbara, did our thing, and then spent the night. I remember we had like sushi. And then we woke up the next day and we were going to like a garden. Mm-hmm. And we were about to lose service, remember? Yeah. And that's when we saw TMZ and we were like...
No.
You didn't want to believe it, and we didn't believe it.
We hung out outside just to kind of feel it out a little bit, and we kept seeing these updates, and it got to the point where I think ESPN or somebody,
everybody, ABC,
somebody notable,
like
or no, LA Times actually posted a tweet, and we were like, "Holy shit, this is true!" And I think we all kind of were in shock and didn't know what to do. And it's crazy because it's a celebrity, it's a person you don't know, but it's somebody that
it's also Kobe. Like he was our hero.
Yeah, we grew up with Kobe, and that was our era.
Yeah,
and that's funny that you wore that shirt.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
Yeah, so it really hit us. Cutting to the point, we get to the outlets, we see the confirmed reports from everywhere, and it's showing, not only does it hurt that Kobe passed, but then it shows that Gigi was in the plane or the helicopter as well. And that's when it really hurt. It really, like, we couldn't get out of the car at the outlets. Like, your parents were out, we were in the car, we were literally crying because of all this. We even said, like, yo, like, life's too short. Like, let's have a family. Let's do the things we said we wanted to do. Let's, like, what are we waiting for? Like, this life is literally too short. Like, we don't want our parents to not be able to enjoy their grandkids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how, what kind of seeded the idea for us. And we just became very like, if it happens, it happens. Since then. And it ended up happening. And we found out again, March 12th, and then the whole world shut down. And, you know, everything has been not what we expected. But I still try to take things as the glass half full. Yeah. Because there's really
pros and cons to this whole situation.
I always say there's really nothing I can compare it to. So, like, during your routine appointments, like, I'm able to drive you, but I can't go into the actual clinic or hospital. I can't be in the waiting room. I literally have to be in the car parked outside waiting or FaceTiming you to see anything.
It's hard. It's so hard. And even just with that, FaceTiming you in the
and you don't get good service. The audio is choppy.
So stressful. Like, this might sound dramatic, but I don't think unless you've experienced it, you actually can internalize how stressful it is. Like, I have to go to the doctor's appointment, and you take in mind, like, you have to do things like check in. You have to do things like pee in the cup. You have to go wait outside, like, come, okay. And then as soon as the nurse comes,
and
like,
you're masked up the whole time.
You're masked up. So it's like already stressful enough. Like, the nurse comes in and it's like, okay, like, I'm going to give you a shot, or we're going to do this today, this, and the blood pressure and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh shit, by that, like, 5 minutes already passed by and I haven't even FaceTime Barry. Yeah. So he automatically just misses out, like, on those little things. On the full experience. Yeah, on the full experience.
And I try to be positive when people ask, like, yo, does it bum you out? Or, like, how do you feel about that? And it's like, I really have nothing to compare it to. I can't be like, oh, like, my last kid, I was in the hospital, I was in the room, I was all that kind of stuff. I have nothing to compare it to. So this is my experience. And it's kind of like, it is what it is. And I really am trying to see the positive in it, because if I see the negative and, like, kind of become disappointed, like, I think I'm going to hold resentment, and that's what I don't want.
For me, it's, like, completely different, though, because I've been around a lot of pregnant people. Yeah,
for sure. So you've experienced those things, and this is not how you expect. This is not how any of us expected it.
No. And I don't need people to, like, treat me a certain way.
Right.
But I think, like, the idea of how, like, I've seen other people be treated while they were pregnant, and just the experiences that they've had.
Yeah, so, like, I mean,
for me, it's, like, completely
taking opposite. From that, it's like, if you see, like, if there's a pregnant person in your family, traditionally, like, the family's all over that person. They're, like, smothering them. They're bringing them food, gifts, hanging out with them, whatever. In our case, like, even if they wanted to, they can't. Because of COVID. We can't have any guests or visitors at the house, and your dad has an autoimmune disorder that kind of, like, puts him at a high risk. So we're really, really, like, locking ourselves in and minimally exposing ourselves as much as possible. We don't go to restaurants. We don't eat out. Yeah. We don't go to bars. We don't do any of the stuff that people are doing on Instagram. We're literally, I go to the office, which is about 10, 15 minutes from my house. I'm there with my 2 business partners. We're just locked in working. And then I come straight home. The most we do is go to Target, go to the grocery store. Go walk at the park, masked up. So that's been a little bit of our experiences, but I think there are people who it's difficult, like, especially if you're at a high risk in your pregnancy, whether it's your age, whether it's health reasons, like, that makes it a lot more stressful. So it's like these moments that you're supposed to be happy about and, like, want to share to the world, you almost feel like guilty doing so because of everything going on, and, like, you can't enjoy it. So I think, you know, it's rough.
It is tough, and it's just been a crazy journey in general. So obviously I've been pregnant since about like February. We honestly think it's a Valentine's baby.
I always told myself if we ever got pregnant, I would want to like I know where it happened when it happened.
Lord.
I can't fucking remember.
I think it was a Valentine's baby.
I don't even remember what we did for Valentine's Day.
You never remember anything.
This is
but
true. This is
we
facts.
actually stayed home, so that's why I think it was a Valentine's
That
baby.
sounds smart on my end. Going out on Valentine's Day is
So I've been
scam.
pregnant, since February, which is so crazy to think about because in February and even before that, I was training for a half marathon, the Nike Women
women's.
LA, which ended up getting canceled because of COVID.
I remember the
which is a
last
whole different
milestone for
story.
that. You had ran 13 miles straight or something.
Dude, yeah, I was almost there, which is super
Yeah.
upsetting because that was like a really big goal of mine and I was almost going to accomplish it, and I was going to accomplish it pregnant, which is like such a fucking
The badass.
Yeah, it's so badass.
And then it got canceled.
And then it got canceled, but I'll be back next year.
Yeah.
I already told Barry, like,
I'm running with a stroller.
but I already told him as soon as I get cleared by my doctor after I have the baby, like I'm going to the park and I'm running 3 miles. Like that's my goal. So everybody please hold me accountable. But yeah, so I've been pregnant for a while now. And I started feeling like I didn't get my period. So for a while, like a month, and I was like, bars, we might be pregnant. It was that Thursday, the 12th of March. And I was like, I'm going to do a Target run and I'm just going to buy a pregnancy test, like just to see what happens.
Because why not?
Because why not? And it was also crazy COVID time. And I remember there was toilet paper at Target and I texted you. I was like, should I get toilet paper? And you're like, but we didn't think it was that serious.
We didn't realize
yet.
the extent of it at that point.
Yeah. And I was like, should I get toilet paper? Because I feel like maybe we'll need toilet paper because everyone's talking about toilet paper.
Yeah.
And you're like, just grab one to be safe. And I probably should have grabbed more because there was still toilet paper there. But yeah, I did that whole thing at Target and you were out that day shooting content at Versailles.
Yeah.
And I was home alone, bored, and it was like cold, whatever.
You're just bored. Like, let me take this pregnancy
I
test.
was bored, and I was
not?
like, should I wait for Barry? And I think you asked me to wait for you, but come on, like, look at who you're talking to. So I remember, and honestly, I didn't think it would come out positive. So I was just like, whatever, I'm going to take it. So I took it, take one, positive. And I'm just like, just still in denial, like not even in like a negative way, just like what, so then
You're in
whatever
denial.
I'm in denial. So I take 2 and then it's like, all right. So then I text you and I'm like, send you photo. And I'm like, dude, I think we're pregnant. And it's like a long time that Barry doesn't reply because like, he's at work.
It's funny because like looking back at it now, we see like shows and movies and like how like the girl surprises the partner like, oh, like we're pregnant.
I kind of regret not surprising,
I literally, she was blowing up my phone and I didn't pick up because I was shooting content. So I was shooting video, photos, all that kind of stuff. And then you text me. I forgot what you said, and again, I didn't reply. Like I just felt my phone vibrating.
This is like normal day to day when Barry doesn't reply to me.
I just my phone vibrating, and then I opened my phone up when I got a break, and I just see like missed call, text. I opened up the text messages. It says like, "Hey, called me, whatever." And then I think you just skipped the waiting process, and it was like pregnancy test, like it says positive, and I was just like. I was like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to react.
It's
like,
so weird. Yeah. And I always thought like it'd be different and more like magical.
Like not that I wasn't happy about it, but it was just like, it was like sprung on me like, boom, you're pregnant.
I didn't know how to feel either, which is like super fair because.
And that was before lockdown. So things were like already on edge
literally
and all that
the
kind of
day
stuff.
before lockdown, guys.
Yeah. So it was like mixed feelings. It's like, we're happy because it happened, but we're also like, how do we share this news?
Well, I don't even think we thought about that.
No, like how do you like become happy about this when everything's going to shit?
Yeah, that's
like
true.
it was very difficult on like mixed emotions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, you came home and I just remember I cried just because I didn't know how to feel and just because I knew my life was about to change, and I wasn't sad because obviously like that's a blessing. And I just remember like we were crying and you were like, I was crying. You're like, it's going to be okay. Like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, where do you go from here? Like, what do I do? Like, I've never been pregnant before. Like, what's the first step?
So I think that's when we realized like, this is not going to be a normal pregnancy because you had a physical setup for like, I think that week or the next week.
Yeah, everything's so crazy.
And that's when things started going up in the air, and all doctor's appointments, like if you had a physical, like they canceled you, like anything that was not COVID related.
So the next day LA goes on lockdown, and we're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? So I just remember, because of the lockdown, they did cancel my physical, and I had a new job, like fairly new job. I've been at my job for like about a year now, but at that time it was super fresh. So I had just switched insurance.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to find a primary care doctor. And then my primary care doctor had called me to cancel my appointment because of COVID, because they weren't seeing people in person.
A primary doctor, yeah.
So I had never met my primary care doctor. And usually your primary care doctor refers you to your OB, who's your doctor throughout your pregnancy. And so I'm like, well,
which is all stuff that we had no idea of.
I had no idea. And like, granted, yes, you can find everything on the internet, but I'm like more of like resourceful person.
And it's not like you can just like phone a friend because it's so early on. You don't really want to share the news because you want to wait, make sure everything's
so
good
weird
before you. Because we have a lot of, you have a lot of cousins who've all gone through pregnancies and all that kind of stuff. So we could have easily reached out, but since it's so early on and plus COVID, like you don't want to share these news in case anything happens.
So I call my primary care doctor's office and I'm like, yo, you canceled my appointment.
Yeah.
I just found out I was pregnant. Basically, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So I can figure it out. So they gave me the number to Cedar's rotating center, which I didn't really know what that meant yet.
Right.
So I made an appointment, go there. And the first thing they tell me is, just want you to know that this is a rotating center, which means that you'll probably see a different doctor every single time. And that like the
doctor delivering the baby could be one of these four.
Yeah, that's the thing they emphasize. Like, we have a group of like 6 to 8 rotating doctors. So that means the doctor that will deliver your baby isn't really guaranteed. And it's basically up for grabs.
One of those in the clinic. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just preferences at that point. Like most people want, like I think with us, we never had an experience with a dedicated OB. So that was kind of just what we were thrown in.
So I told Barry, like, let's just try it out and see where it goes from here.
And there was nothing wrong with it.
And there was nothing wrong with it.
The doctor we usually saw was always the same one, and she was amazing.
Yeah, she was really great. She was great. But I started getting anxiety about having a different doctor deliver the baby.
Just not knowing your personal birth plan.
And then I started watching YouTube videos, which is like a whole rabbit hole.
That actually is, I think, what helped keep us positive throughout everything, because that's the time that Desi Perkins had her whole experience with her fertility journey. Yeah. So I think we saw that. And then seeing us get pregnant, we saw that as such a blessing, because there's people out there who can't. So instead of taking it in any type of negative light, we were like, let's be positive. Let's, be thankful and grateful for what we're about to, get on.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of also what helped us give that, positive fuel that we needed to move forward.
And we also have a doula, which we'll also touch on a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think she's like helped ground us and like remind us like, okay, even though we're not having a baby shower, even though we don't see our family, we still have each other.
You still have to see the positives and everything.
I have a job.
Yeah.
I have insurance.
A lot of people are in worse shoes than we are. So I think
and we have a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah, healthy relationship, healthy pregnancy. Yeah, everything is positive. You have to see things for what you have versus what you don't have.
Yeah. And I think this is also important, and I hope this is helpful, because I feel I've never been a mom. So I think it's funny because our doula actually told us this, like being a parent, or like your daddy, you're adding your dad pin to you, and I'm adding like my mommy badge to myself. So this is like a different phase for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know shit. Like, I'm still lost. I don't know what are the best products.
But I think you never really
My shorts are tight as hell.
I think you really never know what you're doing until you just do it.
And and I'm not a super, like, I like to figure things out as I go, which is fine. But that being said, there are a lot of people who like to be in the know. And there are a lot of people who like to give their opinion. And there are a lot of people who are excited about mommy things. Yeah. So I think that this is a cool topic to touch on, because it's a different experience. And even on Instagram, I feel like not bad, but there's people that send me messages and they're like, I feel so bad for you because
you're not able to have a baby shower.
Yeah, or like things like that. And I try to like be positive about those things, and I don't know, like I just feel like people, whether they have good intentions or bad intentions, like they like this topic.
But I think we'll take that we'll take that in a positive way. Like let's share our story. Let's hope that helps somebody in some way, shape, or form. Jumping back to the doula situation, I think that's something that I'm very proud that we did that, because I think that's helped us mentally prepare for what's to come.
Yeah.
And I think emotionally and get our relationship in order. It's like a therapist meets some sort of a medical expert. In a sense, they're not a doctor.
They're not
a doctor. But they definitely help us with your mental state as to like what to expect, what's going to happen with your body changes, how to react to certain, aches, pains, mental hormones, whatever, massages, all these natural remedies to like help certain symptoms that you may be having. And I think that's stuff that we would never get with a doctor.
For sure.
So I think that's a definite positive.
And she also checks us. Like she checks us. She's like, Arlene, you make sure you're acting right. Like Barry, are you acting right? Yeah. Like, are you mentally
and vice versa?
healthy?
Check each other. And like she's on that, because it's the same thing. It's like there's a lot of emotions going on both sides. Like obviously you're pregnant, your hormones are ramping up, and you're going through certain things that I can't relate to and I can't experience
at all. Honestly, I'm about to shit on you. But being pregnant is so crazy, because I don't want to say I'm a superhero, but I kind of am.
You are. You got a fucking Martian growing in you.
I'm a Martian in my belly. But on a serious note, like being pregnant is such a like empowering thing in a very weird way. And before me being pregnant, like to me, like no me podías decir nada. Like to me, I am not the person you come tell what to do, how to be, how to act. Like you can't tell me, you can't regulate me. Like I'm not that type of person. So I feel like now that I'm pregnant and after I give birth, it's like, yo, it is over. Like I am a badass. Yeah. And it's so crazy because your body goes through all of these things, all of these changes, like your legs, your boobs, everything's massive as hell. Like don't even get me started on the nipples.
That's an earthquake happening. So just as we're talking about the world falling apart,
what the fuck?
4.3 magnitude south of San Gabriel.
4.6.
Whatever. That shit was. That's on a tripod, on a steady tripod. That's on some messed up rig, but that was pretty nuts.
That was kind of scary. I'm here talking about my nipples, and then literally the earth is shaking.
Anyways, let's get back to what we're talking about.
So I was just saying, I don't even remember, but
your body changes and all that stuff.
Your body changes, but it's so crazy because I feel like the woman goes through everything, and sometimes I'll be going through something, or I'm feeling something, or I'll get like cramps or things like that, and I look at him and I'm like, you don't have no feel idea. Anything. Yeah, like you really don't feel anything.
And I get it, and I think that's what the doula comes into play, because she also makes me see your point of view, and you see my point of view, because it's can be seen as selfish, as far as like the male never gets to experience what you're going through and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think it's selfish. I just think like you're genuinely
no. I'm saying it could,
out of tune sometimes,
because even though we're not physically experiencing what you're going through, we also deal with the stresses of trying to take care of you, or trying to like cope with what's going on, and like help you. And it's hard for us to see you in pain, or for males to see their women in pain and not know what to do. And I think a doula helps you kind of get your mental state right, and make sure you guys are asking the right questions to each other, make sure you're empathizing, making sure you're all on the same page, because at the end of the day we're on the same team. So I think that's something that you don't really check yourself on unless you have somebody like a doula who works kind of like a therapist in a sense.
For sure.
And shout out to Jess. She's an amazing person, an amazing doula. She came through. She taught us a lot of different massages, gave us some good resources, some books, some really good goodies for the kid, for our child. For soul. And, I think I'm very appreciative of that. That's something that I normally wouldn't have thought about, but I'm glad you reached out to her and we made it all work.
Yeah, we did. And I think it's been very beneficial for us because, like I said, it really does feel like we're alone in this journey.
And this kind of bridges that gap between, like, when we're not able to see the doctor as often. And if you have any direct questions, we can ask Jess. Even though she's not a doctor, she's able to answer any question related towards, like, as far as like pains or like symptoms that you'll be feeling, or like questions to ask your doctor, or things to consider, like a birth plan. Like I never knew, like I even asked like, what does a birth plan consist of? Like I had no idea what it is. Like it's things you hear about on TV and on shows and stuff.
Sorry to cut you off.
But yeah, she definitely puts things into perspective and helps you ask the right things and be thinking about the right things.
Yeah. Should we talk about why we're not having a baby shower?
Yeah. So
which sucks.
Now that we
hard.
We're trying to get our mental right. We're trying to be positive during this whole experience. But one thing that we both mutually decided on was not having a baby shower. And that's just, it was a difficult decision because we've always envisioned a specific event.
I always envisioned, obviously I haven't had a wedding.
We'll get there.
But I always pictured like a big, beautiful baby shower. And in my family, typically they'll have 2 baby showers. And that's like from my
because
family's,
the family's that big.
Because the family's big, but it's typically from like our side and then from the partner side. Yeah. So like my cousins.
Because the family's too big to host one.
Because the family's too big to host one. But I always pictured like one really big baby shower. And even when I got pregnant, like I still had hope because it was very early on, March. Yeah. We're now in September. So I always picture like a big baby shower. I talked to Barry about like having it in a venue or renting like this huge Airbnb or just having like a really nice.
But your family is way too much for that.
Full on baby shower.
If we have a baby shower, including like my family's not as big as
you want to have it at the house, and I'm just like,
check it out. I understand. But your family, the parties that we have with them, they go past midnight, obviously, so they have to be at least 2 a.m. The bar has to be endlessly flowing. Yeah. And people get wild, and it's like it's a fun time. I love those parties, and I appreciate those things. But you can't have that at a nice bougie Airbnb where you got to be in by 4, out by 9.
That's beside the point. Like I was gonna figure out how I was gonna have my really nice baby shower at a really nice venue somehow. Like that was just like my vision. Barry kept like bringing it back to the house. Whatever.
I'm a little realistic, you know what I mean?
Stop.
You cover the pool, you know, you have a dancer right there.
We have like a really nice backyard setting for a baby shower, but I always just pictured it like somewhere nice. Like even if it was like a cocktail thing or like.
But either way, we're not having one.
But we're not having one, so it doesn't matter at the moment. I think we actually decided this a little bit early on. And it sucks, I think, now that we're like far along. Yeah. But honestly, we're kind of over it. But it's hard. Like everything is very hard because let me break it down. So I wanted my really big baby shower that I wanted to plan because I wanted a certain aesthetic,
that
and
only
that's
you can curate. It's true because I think everybody has a different vision and wants to throw these things at you, like, oh, this would be nice, this would be cool. But I think you've always had that vision for your parties.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I don't like trust any of my family members.
Just, you want what you want, and
but I want what I want.
It's not a birthday. It's different.
Yeah, it's like my baby shower.
Yeah, it's a baby shower.
So I always envisioned it like a very specific way. I was going to figure out my venue. I kind of had an idea of like the event planners I wanted to hire and like things like that. And I told Barry, like, look, this is going to be my baby shower.
So you got to just show up, basically.
Not only that, but like budget is approved. Like that doesn't matter. Like that goes out the window. We've been saving. Like we have savings somewhere. So I was
Please let me know where that is.
So I was like,
so I can hide it better.
Do not complain about any of this. So that was like how I envisioned like throwing my own baby shower. Yeah. And all that good stuff. So this was like back early. And then COVID hit, we quarantined hardcore.
So we didn't want to take any chances.
We didn't want to take any chances. And for us now, it's like it's September. It's September. It's still COVID. You still can't come to my doctor's visits. You're the only person that's allowed with me in labor. Only one person's allowed. So the doctor said, if I get COVID, I'm going in by myself. Right. If you get COVID, somebody else comes in with me. And my mom's like, I'll come in with you. But like, I truthfully only want Barry to be in my labor. Like, I've just always thought about it that way. So it's just like that. You're my only option. Like, you're the only person that's going to be in there with me, no matter what.
So again, it's just, there's no point in taking these unnecessary risks.
Yeah, it's not worth taking these risks. I understand that everyone like wants to be out and about and like do their thing because it's hard to quarantine.
Everybody has, yeah. I mean, we're not.
And everyone's entitled to do whatever they want because.
But if you're out and about, like don't get upset when we're telling you we don't want to hang out or we don't want you around.
Yeah, that's our only thing because we've been super careful and we're 33 weeks now. So as of 36 weeks, we're gonna like hardcore quarantine again. Yeah. And that's just our thing. Like, okay, everyone can do whatever they want, but the results of it is us not having a baby shower, so we're really suffering at the end. And when it comes to like anything baby, obviously we're gonna do whatever it takes to protect ourselves. We're gonna do whatever it takes to protect our baby, whether that means saying no to grandma, no to grandpa, no to aunt, no to whoever, because
I think we're mentally prepared for all that.
Yeah, we're mentally prepared for all of that. And at the end of the day, like we still need to find a pediatrician. It's whatever the pediatrician says. If the pediatrician says everybody has to go get COVID tested, which is like crazy to like think about and even have to go through, and that sucks. Like that's what we're gonna have to do. Like everyone is going to have to send us the COVID test and make sure it's negative, and that's how they'll be able to see the baby. Like it's sad.
It's so crazy because just going back to the beginning of this conversation, like this is our reality.
This is our new reality.
This is what our pregnancy journey has become. Yeah, and it's. Again, we try to be as positive as possible, but when you look at the facts and where we're at, it's hard.
It's hard, y'all. Like, not only that, but I think when you have a baby shower, that's when you get all of your gifts.
That's been a big thing for us because a lot of our family, like, especially like the older family, like they're unsure of how to order from our registry or like what's what or when do you send it. Usually for a baby shower, like everybody secures their gifts for that event. They show up at the event and you get your gifts. So with us, we're so far along in the game, and we've had a good amount of people definitely like bless us with certain gifts.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of things that we're just like, yo, we really need that. Should we just buy it ourselves?
And we know like our family wants to gift the stuff and things like that. But at the end of the day, we also need to figure out what we need. So like not having a baby shower means like no gifts, which is fine because I'm like,
we don't expect anybody to give us anything. But since there's no date, it's hard to know like, is somebody trying to give that, or should we just get it ourselves?
So I think we're at a point where we're just like I just started ordering small stuff because I'm kind of like, I rather have it. Like my last month, I told Barry, like, I just picture it being chill. Yeah. I don't want to be bugged. Like I want everything that we've been doing in the house to be done. Like and that means you have 2 weeks, by the way.
No pressure.
And I just want to zen and like fully embrace my pregnancy because honestly, like, I don't feel like this pregnancy has been about me. Which
is true. There's bigger things going on, but at the same time, you're pregnant and this is your journey. You want to feel special. You want to enjoy it, and it's hard because you don't get that. Yeah. That feeling.
And it's hard too because I was telling my nail girl today.
Venting.
We were venting, but I was like, I'm home alone all day. Yeah. And that takes a toll on you, and you sound like I'm pretty tough, but to be home all day and to work and to cook and like to do all those things, like I'm grateful because I don't have to drive an hour and a half to work every day and an hour and a half back, and I get to work from home. And like I said, I'm grateful for all the things that I have, but at the same time, it's like I'm literally alone.
Yeah, you'd want that experience to be different, and I understand that.
And I feel like I haven't had that, and it's like this pregnancy hasn't been like Arlene's pregnancy. It's just like she's pregnant.
The crazy thing is that's something that's a serious topic, because those things are what account for postpartum depression, because you feel that resentment of your pregnancy and you didn't have that experience, and that trickles down to after the baby's born, and that's real. It's a big thing that we talk to our doula about, but there are things that we're trying to be proactive about, having these conversations. There's herbal remedies, it's a lot of mindset things, but I think us mentally preparing for what's to come and accepting things that are going on, like, it's very important, because otherwise you'd have those resentment feelings. And
I feel like I don't have resentment, but for me, I think like, I think I already told you too, like the last month is gonna like, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I mean, that's expected.
But no, like I'm gonna cry now. Oh. But I feel like the last month is like make it or break it, because it's like we're gonna self quarantine and like Barry's gonna stay home, and it's like either like it goes really well or it doesn't, and I just want everything to go really well. And it's really hard because like my whole pregnancy, there's been construction at the house. There's been COVID. Like,
There's been a massive earthquake.
there's been a massive earthquake. Like,
It's the things we never expected to happen during our pregnancy that are
Yeah.
going on, and it's kind of our reality again. And it's things that we want to shed light on, because I think there's other people, whether you're pregnant, whether you know somebody that's pregnant, things to consider and things to try to get in their head. Like, you know, it's not
For sure.
it's not what you would expect. Like, if you see the
At
Instagram
all.
posts and see all the positivity and the beauty behind
Yeah,
it,
it's so
that's
funny.
cool, but that's not the reality of it. And that's kind of like going back to episode 1 about our relationship. It's like, it looks
Yeah.
perfect online, but like there's so many layers behind it, and that's kind
so
of
funny.
the same thing with the
Because
pregnancy.
Today, someone was like, your pictures are so pretty, or they're so perfect. And I literally pulled up to the front of the house.
Yeah.
And I saw my clothes online, so someone came to pick up. But they pulled up to the house, and I was like, that's not how I look like in real life. Like, that's just a photo that I
Yeah.
got ready for, and like they fixed the lighting. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what I look like in real life.
And this is why we are using our platform to have these conversations. I hope this helps somebody.
Yeah.
I hope, you know, we are able to shed light on situations going on with us that, you know,
And be mindful of people.
Yeah, I think
I
that's-
think that's like a big thing too, because
Li-
COVID is an extra layer on top of pregnancy, which is already like a crazy journey, especially when it's your first time. So like, just be mindful and like watch the thing. I know like there's always like posts about like things you don't say to a pregnant person, or like things you just don't say in general because they're kind of rude. But I think that's a thing. Like,
little things like when people say like, oh, like you're tiny or you're so
Oh my
big
God,
or whatever, like
yes.
those are, I think people don't mean it in a malicious way, but it's just
like
you're-
you don't know how I feel
as a pregnant person, you obviously are going to feel self-conscious about your body. It's
For
changing in ways
sure.
that you've never
And that's
had before.
That's a whole different topic.
That's a longer different topic, but those little things like that is what people don't realize. Like, you think you're
For sure.
complimenting by like, oh, you're so big, and they mean it in a nice way, but like
Yeah.
people are sensitive, and this is not saying just you, but like in
Yeah,
general.
because
like,
I'm not sensitive, so I can't imagine like how other people feel. You
but
know what
like
I mean?
now especially being the partner of the pregnant person and hearing somebody say certain things, and you're just like, that could have been taken pretty wrong.
Pretty wrong. So if you're pregnant,
We got you.
just be happy. We got you. Reach out to me on IG. If someone tells you something mean, let's go get them. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I think you just make the best out of the situation and stay strong and just do what's best for you and your family. And I recommend a doula, or I recommend whatever helps you and whatever makes you feel good. And just positive. Like, just be positive. I know that sounds so cheesy and like everyone just throws that word around, but yeah, you have to take yourself out of your little bubbles.
This was definitely the soul portion of Hustle and Soul. All right, so that was episode 2 of Hustle and Soul. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope you guys got something out of it. Hopefully we're able to shed some light on pregnancy and complications during COVID and experiences, and hope you guys open your eyes to these different things that people are going through and become more empathetic and, you know, think about things a couple times before you say them, right?
Go make babies.
Go make babies. Man. Life is short. We
kidding.
just had a massive earthquake. The world's falling apart. What are you waiting for? So make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that. I hope we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that. Whatever else is out there, I'll find a way to be up on there. Make sure to rate us, leave a comment, let us know what you feel. DM us, email us, whatever you guys have,
Yeah.
questions. If you guys want to hear certain topics, please make sure to let us know.
Yeah.
We do this for you guys.
What are we talking about next?
I have no idea, but we'll find out. We out.